All right, guys, welcome back to the Primetime Podcast, featuring myself, Matt Burns as co-host, and Jacob Miller. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. It is a late podcast. I'm a little tired, I won't lie, but we're going. All right, we're
We're
going for the
going.
people.
We're going. We're gonna get this knocked out, and then I'm gonna go to bed.
Pretty much, yeah. Sorry for not posting at all the past week. We have been insanely busy. I meant to post about not doing a podcast last week. Had planned to not do one last week, and I just forgot to post that. I typed the post and just never sent it. So, my bad. That's on me. um, I got busy building a bow.
Dropping the ball.
I know, I got busy building a bow. So, we'll
Well, at
talk
least
about
you
that.
were at least you were
It was
busy building
archery
a bow.
related.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
at least it was archery related.
um, but today's podcast, I figured introduce our guest, Jacob Miller. He went to Indoor Nationals, not me. Uh, so we were going to talk to him.
Boo.
Trust me, I know. I wish I went, but like Landon Standish said, they don't pay out, so I don't want to go. um,
Just gotta
which
pay
I
for
guess
that
we'll
pro
get.
card.
Yeah, it really makes me want to do that. But
uh,
yeah, no. So we're going to talk about Indoor Nationals a little bit, recap, and kind of get an idea about the feedback from Jacob and people about the new venue and all that. And then the second half of the pod, we'll talk about outdoor season, getting ready, talk about that, and maybe a little bit about Vegas coming up since that's pretty close. But yeah, Jacob. So first of all, new venue this year. Want to dive into that first? Thoughts on the venue? I saw some pictures. I know Greg Poole was doing his rounds about the venue, and it kind of had a Vegas feel a little bit based on certain pictures I saw, at least with like the flooring and stuff. But it looked like more of a professional arena than Louisville did, in my opinion. And I wasn't at Chicago, and it was like, to me, Chicago was like COVID, like the blip in a way, where it was a one-time thing and you never heard of it again.
right.
So I'm not gonna count Chicago. Everyone just forget it, basically. Um, but compared to Louisville, I shot that twice. I'm pretty sure, two or three times. And I've shot when it was at Cincinnati, twice. And from the pictures I saw at this venue, it felt more of like a Vegas feel. So if you want to dive into just the new atmosphere of the venue, first, and maybe a little bit into the attendance, I don't know the specific numbers, but you can compare and contrast to a previous year, at Louisville or Chicago or whatever, if you want to get into that.
Yeah. So the venue was pretty nice because just to kind of start from the ground up was you had really nice parking. There was plenty of parking spaces. It was attached to the building, so if you didn't want to stay at the hotels that were in within walking distance,
Real quick, it's in Memphis. I forgot to say that. It's in Memphis.
Memphis,
So,
Tennessee,
anyway, continue.
at
Sorry.
the Renaissance Convention Center, and there was a lot of parking available. Elevators right up to where you needed to shoot. Actually, literally, you would step out the elevator and turn left, and there it was. So very easy to navigate, very easy to get to. Um, it was actually pretty spacious. Like, not gonna lie, everything didn't feel congested. Um, it kind of had like the Vegas ballroom feel. We were kind of more in a ballroom, which it was actually called ballroom 2 or 3 or something like that is
Yeah,
where we
those were
were.
the pictures that I had seen where I was referencing like the Vegas atmosphere. It had that similar feel, look wise at least, compared to when I shot Vegas the past few years. That
Yeah,
ballroom feel. Um, but
yeah, and it honestly was very, very spacious. Like the NFA
okay,
did really, really good job at kind of designating areas, whether it was vendor booths. You had the Gold Tip trailer was there, AAE trailer was there, Lancaster trailer was there. You had competition archery products was there, Bowtech was there, um, and I believe AEP was there. Nunzio was there. I believe. if I'm not mistaken. So, and everything was pretty spacious. Plus, we had Mantis there, which was pretty cool, showing off their new products for firearm and archery training. So everything was pretty spacious. There was no congestion. There was no having to walk over people to get somewhere. The only really area I would say now that was I was mainly talking about the vendor area. You didn't really weren't walking on top of people or nothing like that. Um, but behind the chairs where you're kind of walking in to kind of get to your shoot site or whatever, shooting range, I should say, because they had three different ranges. You had one on as you walked in, you had one on the right wall, and then you had two over in the corners, so to speak, of the kind of around the corner, and you had two on each side. So there was plenty of shooting space. That is another thing that was pretty cool. A lot of bales for practice. So when you wanted to practice, I was able to practice inside where you would be shooting on Friday before the pro am event. So that was pretty cool to get used to the lighting. And then across the hall, we had an actual practice hall. That kind of reminds me of Vegas. Like it was kind of smaller, but in a ballroom, how many bales are you able to fit? You know?
Because I don't remember in prior years of there being like a true practice area. It was more so you get there, you could practice on your bail, and then there's like a really tiny practice area,
Yes. It
which is
was
always crowded, and you don't really get to shoot at because it's that crowded. So,
yeah.
like I know when I shot Louisville last, it was you get there, you get the two big lines on each side of
Yep.
target or bales, and
And
you kind of
one
just pick where
little
you want to go because typically when you walk in to the arena, if you've ever shot Louisville, you walk in and directly where you're looking at when you walk in is where the pros are shooting on, I guess, that Friday. Then the other side is you guys could shoot there and practice or whatever. And then all the way in the back is like maybe, what would we say, 20 bales for practice, 25 bales of
yeah,
practice,
about that.
something like
Just
that. It's
one
very
little area.
it's like a larger sized pro shop, I would say, size to targets, and that's about it. So it's pretty nice that they actually had like a true practice area. And then kind of like go back when you said like the that vintage like Vegas ballroom feel. Would you say the lighting impacted it a lot? Because I know when I've shot Vegas, that ballroom flooring, the lighting really kind of sucked with it. So did you have any issues with lighting there? Or hear from other people?
No, actually, we were very surprised that the lighting was that good. Like we were kind of. I honestly thought once I got there that the lighting was gonna suck. I'll be honest. Like if you were at Vegas and you were going to the ballrooms to practice or whatever, the lighting would be a lot dimmer. You know, because it's a ballroom. It
Don't
like.
remind me, Jacob. Don't remind me.
And when we showed up and I started shooting, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty nice. So, not to dog on anything from previous years or Vegas or whatever. It's just it's venue. Whatever venue works for the organization who's running the shoot, you know, it is what it is. You have to, as an archer, you have to adapt and overcome um, certain light situations. So I would have to say the lighting was best I've seen it. Louisville's not that bad on lighting. Obviously, you have a lot more light being spread up across a bigger area, but
Well, I think the flooring also helps with how it
yep,
reflects. 'Cause that's not a ballroom type floor. It's
right.
what was it? I forget the type of flooring they had there.
It was just a concrete floor.
Yeah, that's
There
what I
was
thought.
not even
The
like
reflection's a bit different. So it is definitely a different feel wise, but yeah, no, that's cool. It's good to know for lighting purposes because I struggle with lighting a lot indoors. Especially like when I've shot Vegas before, I've always struggled with lighting. So, um, good to know, like for future reference for people that have had like the same experience. Um, Now for you, I've always said because I want to get into how your week went there and your different the different shoots they had there. But for your experience, I always say when people are thinking about going to a shoot for the first time. So like I was actually just talking to a buddy of mine, Mike, that I shot with 3D with like 2 weeks ago, and he doesn't get a lot of chances to shoot national events. And I said, Lancaster's a good one because it's in the area, all that. But I always suggest if you're going to go to one, I suggest NFA Indoor Nationals. It doesn't pay off for amateurs, I know that. However, you get the pro am, which if you don't know what the pro am is, you sign up, you can shoot with a pro, you shoot with other people in different classes. It's a good time. I've shot it twice. No, I've signed up for it twice. First time, I got the flu. Didn't get to go. Turns out I was signed up with, I think it was Jacob Marlowe, which sucked to miss out on that. But the second time I got to shoot with Heather Gore, it was a great time. You get to kind of just like shit talk with some of the other guys on the line and hang out with the pros, get like a different feel of like what it's like to different side of what the pros are rather than seeing them like, oh, they're super serious and all that. Because there definitely is that side to it. And then at that venue, it's more so they're trying to figure out what's going right for them. We're also trying to figure out what's going right for us. And you can win a little bit of cash doing it too. Because I know like the one year I did it, the pros are putting money on the line with each other, and then they gave it out amongst the group. So it's a bit of a different type of shoot. It's kind of fun. And then you have the shoot itself, which is a good experience, and the it's a much bigger vendor area, in my opinion, than most. I think Vegas is probably the biggest by far, just because they have so many different types of vendors there. Um, but like they go as far as like optics, which not many like Lancaster doesn't have optics vendors. It's either maybe I don't think they do. I've never seen an optics vendor there, but Indoor Nationals has a ton of vendors, and the vendor specific area is massive. So I always suggest people if you're going to go to one and you want to spend the money and do it right, is to do NFA Indoor Nationals because you get opportunities to meet a bunch of people. One, would you agree? If not, where would you suggest? And two, when you're an amateur and then going into pro, how did you feel about the same thing that I was kind of like talking about? Because that's kind of where I started off at Lancaster, just because from being New Jersey is closest. But outside of that, NFA Indoor Nationals was the first like bigger one I would say I went to, and a lot of my what got me into the indoor target side was because of those types of experiences.
Yeah, I'd have to say that I'm same experience actually. Is I was always told when I was younger to go to indoor nationals, and that was actually my first ever national tournament that I competed in. Um, and so loud. Um, so and the biggest thing that they told me was like you've been to local stuff, you've been to state stuff, that's nothing like a national. And I said, all right. And they said, when you get up on the line, don't even like knock your arrow, get ready, but like when the buzzer goes, wait a few seconds. You got 4 minutes to shoot 5 arrows. You'll be good. And I said, okay. And they said the symphony of the arrows, like for somebody going to the very first national, has never been to a national before. Um, it's
Weird.
amazing.
It's
It's
weird
like
after the first couple shots.
yes, it's literally ASMR because you're like sitting there, and my very first time, I'll never forget it. As I got my bow sitting on my thigh, I load my arrow, the buzzer goes, and I listen to the individuals that were telling me to just, the people that were telling me to wait, and buzzer went off, and I'm like, okay, and you just hear, soup, 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 and then literally it just came down the line of just, and I'm just like, oh, that was so cool. So
It's
that
weird because you get the same at Lancaster, but I think it's just the amount of bales and also getting it from both sides at the same time. It's just such a weird feeling.
it's cool. It's like
It's cool, but it's
it's my
also for a first
favorite
time.
thing about.
It's so weird too. You know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, because you're sitting there going, whoa. So that's pretty much my expertise on it is like nationals, indoor nationals, go. Like, yes, I know you're not winning the money, but there's only a few people that have that silver bowl. Or and there's even fewer that have multiple silver bowls. And that silver bowl is worth it to shoot that tournament. But also the venue's really, really nice. Like you were talking about, you have a lot of vendors there. You can go and talk. Um, if there's a certain pro that you want to see and he's there or she is there, internationals kind of is, I guess, on the scale of like people working on stuff. Like they're still working on stuff. I'm not trying to take away from any other tournament or whatever, but it's kind of like a little bit more laxed. They're kind of like a more laxed atmosphere, I should say. You're still trying to do good. You're still working on stuff. Not saying that indoor nationals is not important by any means, but it's more lax. So, like, if there's a pro that you kind of want to see, talk to, um, you have the opportunity to kind of converse with them because they have a little bit more time instead of splitting up between interviews or not I wouldn't say ceremonies, but like seminars or whatever they're doing with their sponsors and stuff like that. So yeah, I would have to say Indoor National is the one tournament I would tell everybody to go to for their first.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to um, take away from any other tournament, but at the same point in time, they it's usually in the Midwest and kind of in the middle of the United States, so everybody can kind of travel to it
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
So um, it's a really really cool tournament, and I don't know, the atmosphere is just a little bit better. It's not so high stressed.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree.
th-
I agree.
that would be another thing I would say is somebody that wants to have like a first time really good experience, kind of getting their feet wet into going to national tournaments and getting the experience. That's where I would start. So yes, I agree with that, with what you were saying.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think also for the fact like Lancaster, you look to be on that stage. Indoor Nationals, and if you shoot flights for Vegas, you don't have that stress. But especially for Indoor Nationals, I think the bowl is the best trophy to win in archery. Vegas, you can shoot to win 4 grand and a buckle if you shoot the 900. So there definitely is like a little more added pressure to Vegas than Indoor Nationals, even though you are not shooting on like a podium where everyone can see you and your name gets out super quick. Like after I made the podium, I gained like 150 followers on Instagram. I was like, well, okay, like sick. Thank you. Thank you. Don't follow me. I'm just a fucking nobody. But not the point. Uh, but it was but then you go to internationals or Vegas and in flights specifically, you don't get nearly that same reception afterwards because you don't get that little bit of interaction within those four ends that you may shoot on a stage. There is that. That's really the only difference. It's a bit more relaxed feel. You pay the entry fee, you shoot the event, you can win a bowl, you don't win a bowl, whatever. It's a good experience. You're shooting with a lot bigger range of people. The first one, I always like saying that. Plus, for the pro am, I think it's a good experience because you can also ask pros certain stuff because they're more than willing to help. Um, Last question I had, and then I want to get into like how your week went there. Was the pro side of the pro am because you always hear the amateur side of oh I shot with this pro so cool blah 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 because every you hear it all the time. Like I was just going off of that without like my time with like Paige and how I got the flu. Um, what or with Heather and how I got the flu. What would be your best experience at doing like the pro am, and what would you say is the if you had to say like a typical like pro experience doing the pro am? Because there's definitely mixes. Some guys probably don't want to do it, but they're required to, and some guys probably definitely do want to do it because it's definitely a cool experience to meet certain people, like different people at least. So, what would you say for your standpoint, your best experience doing the pro am and the latter question?
The best experience I have is like when I get you don't always get a kid with, like a youth archer, I should say. I shouldn't say a kid or a young adult. Um but when you do, that would be my best experience is because they're an up and comer. They're super excited to shoot with a pro, and it's just awesome just to see them shoot. If they have questions, I haven't had this year. I didn't have a youth archer or a young adult. I had two adults. I had a female freestyle, and I had I believe, a male bow hunter freestyle shooter this year, and it was still a good experience. Like I'm not taking anything away from those guys. It was a great time. I actually got to shoot with one of my good friends. She was signed up for the pro am, and she ended up picking me as the pro. So I was pretty
Cool.
ecstatic with that. Um, but that would be my, you know, coming back to the original question, is youth or young adult archers, being paired with the pro. That's me personally. That's the start. That's the future of our sport. And I'm a not a well known pro myself, but at the same point in time, like to them, it's a big deal to shoot with a pro.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're trying to guide them or anything like that. But if they have questions, I just like to make it the best experience for them, and just seeing them smile and crack up
Mm.
and everything at a pro am is just fun because some pros get in there and they're like they're working on their own stuff and they're just making sure that their setup is good for the next morning, which that's them. Um, I don't think there has not been a pro am where I have laughed my butt off with the people I've shot with. Like I'm always cutting up with them, laughing. We working on stuff. If they have a question, I kind of talk to them. This year, got to shoot with one of my friends, so we were catching up with that. And then the other gentleman that I was shooting with, he was actually a local. He only lived an hour and a half, I think he said, away from the venue. So he was kind of telling me what was the good spots to eat and
Yeah.
everything around town, and what areas to stay away from.
What do you
uh,
mean? Memphis is so safe.
yeah, Memphis is great. Uh, no, I'm just joking. Um,
Don't
so
lie.
it was just a different, yeah, it was just a different atmosphere this year. I got to shoot with friends, and it was a blessing to shoot around friends. With the issues I've been having the start of my season, hopefully they get better, and they're starting to, with some changes I've made. But all in all, I would have to say the best one is shooting with like a youth or a young adult archer, somebody just starting out, even a freestyle shooter that's in the adult class and they're there for the first time, and their family or buddy or was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta shoot the pro am." It's just great to converse and talk with them and get to know people. Um, and I'll that's kind of transition into the next question is typical pro experience is I love to do the pro-ams because I get to meet new people. It creates new friendships, it creates new experiences, not just for you, but for the archer. And you have a chance to make somebody's weekend, you know, um, and having them smiling and cracking up and everything, because a pro am is supposed to be fun. Yeah, you hear the pros talking smack and everything like that, which we do. Some pros will say, "Hey, yeah, highest score, um, payout," and we'll do side bets or something like that. But at at the same point in time, my mind is on like, okay, I'm with these two individuals or three individuals, depending upon how many shoot. the pro-am how many signed up. And it's getting to know those people. It's getting to know them, seeing where they come from, what got them into archery, kind of listening to their story, because I always like to hear people's stories, where they came from, how they got into it, what they're doing now, um, and I don't try to get too personal, but what do they do for a job? Like, are you working at a shop, and that's how
Yeah,
started shooting target, or are you working a 9 to 5, type thing. It's just cool to see the different um, aspects of archery and different
yeah,
people, different situations, um, and just getting to know everybody. That
yeah,
is, for me, my typical pro experience with the pro am is I'm out there to learn um, these new people. Basically, I'm getting to shoot with, like learning their experience and trying to give them the best experience. So that's right there is pretty much what I would say is why I do the pro-ams.
yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I've like a few quick things, and then we'll get into the second part of the NFA talk. Like two like really like cool, like three like quick cool experiences I've had it as pros that like attest to that. Is one was last year, not this past 2026, 2025 Lancaster. I was on the practice range. Braden Gillentine was there, and there was like this little kid struggling shooting on the practice line. Braden Gillentine went up to him, was adjusting his own button, teaching him how to shoot it right, and ended up just giving him a random button to this random kid. And this kid was just like ecstatic and the button for him. And just gave him, I think this was like just after he left B3 or whatever it was. I forget the time period, but he had like a bunch of extra releases. And he just set up a button. It's like, this is how I shoot it. This is how I recommend to shoot it. And just sat with him for like probably like a half hour. I watched it entirely for the entire thing. It was insane because you don't get to see that behind the scenes stuff where like they do that. Like
Mm-hmm.
you see like the little clips that they'll throw time to time on Instagram and Facebook for clicks and views, but you don't get to see stuff like that where they don't do it. It's like when you see the people that give stuff out for the homeless, and it's like, okay, well, you're doing that for clicks and views, kind of. That's kind of the rap they get. You don't see the stuff where it's like just do it to do it kind of thing. And I saw that, and I'm like, that's actually awesome. Because Tanya was sitting in the back with the youngster. Brayden was just there because I think he was prepping for an ASA or whatever at the time, getting his bow ready for it, and just helping this young kid who was struggling, taught him how to shoot a button the right way, and then he started shooting very good groups. So that was a cool experience. Another one I had, my first IBO ever. I kid you not, I became like best friends with Tim Gillingham for a weekend, dude. Like I ended up having like 3 2-hour conversations with him within an entire weekend. And just like I'll go up to him and be like, "Hey Tim, how was your weekend?" And me like super tiny like 10-year-old, and Tim like super tall, however he was at the time. So like just little interactions like that. And then like you were saying, like getting to meet people, dude. I would have never have met you if I didn't follow you on Instagram the one day. I just followed you. We started talking, and now we're doing a podcast together, and we're really good buddies. So it was like the little stuff like that. Um, so it's stuff like that. Like I think some pros kind of miss because like it's also like it's a hospitality kind of sport in a way where I view it kind of similar to golf, but it's also like you also want to entertain at the same time, and you can entertain in different ways. You can entertain with how like you portray yourself on the line. You can do it with how you portray yourself with other people, interact, and all that. If there's a stage, you can do it that way. Like I was on the stage, I was like, PJ, get the people going, because like you want to be a showman at the same time, but you can also do that on the shooting line with people and interact and stuff. And that's kind of what the sport needs, in my opinion, because the sport's missing that. So it's important to have that type of mentality as well. So I'm happy to hear that at least one pro is doing it. I know there's more. Well, else I feel like there's many pros. I know there's many that are
There's
definitely missing out on that, and a lot of them do get paid to shoot full time as well. So it's like definitely different um, for that aspect. But it's definitely something that should be like remembered because you want to. They always complain about, oh, there's not enough people in the sport. You got to do stuff to get people involved, which
Right.
is a reason also why we want to do this podcast. You want to try and get, if it sparks one kid to want to pick up a bow, that's awesome. It's one more person who's involved, even if they never shoot a target event ever. They're involved in the sport. That's all you need, you know. But that's my little mini rant, I guess, for the podcast.
Thank you for coming to our tech talk.
Yeah. I'll get on a stage next time. And I'll get something that says Ted back here. But next up, and I don't know how long you want to go into this. We talked a lot about this off camera. I know Indoor Nationals didn't go too well for you, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit. Uh, and I know you've been messing with the bow a lot, getting stuff ready for Vegas. I don't know if you want to do more of a segue into Vegas, more than rather than a recap of Indoor Nationals. I can just do like a mini recap for you. The two 357s, I'm pretty sure. I know mentally or shot wise, you said you're pretty solid the majority of the weekend, shot wise at least. And the last we left, you were talking to a couple guys about some stuff to work on. So I don't know how far in depth you want to go into that. I'm not going to name names because that's up to you, obviously. But kind of take that with how you want, and if you want to do more of a segue to Vegas as to what you're working on now.
Yeah, we'll
So
do a
yeah,
little bit of a transition into Vegas. Just a recap of Indoor Nationals, like what Matt
it's
said.
actually
I shot
fucking door festivals. Okay, I'm just kidding.
357X both days. Definitely faltered, but the shots I've been working on my shot process pretty much for weeks, even months, and
Even
trying
at
to perfect
Lancaster,
it.
we were talking about this too. You know,
Yeah, so it's been a while, and finally getting to Indoor Nationals, I had pretty high hopes, sighting in and everything like that, and getting used to the lighting, getting used to the venue, trying to figure out what release I wanted to shoot. I've been going back and forth between my button and my hinge, and stuck with the button all weekend, but shot felt solid. There was only a handful out of the whole weekend. Out of 120 shots, I think I would have to say there was only like five or six, uh, with actually the six I missed. But even the one of them that I did miss, that just missed it low, that shot felt solid.
yeah.
Um, So I'd have to say it was a win for me because I went through it and shot 120, oh, like 100. I'll just say 100, 100 and like 15, 114 good shots out of 120.
And you know what's crazy is when you think about it, a pair of 57s really isn't that bad when you think about it. Like it's
No,
really
it's
not.
not.
But in the pro class,
In the
you
pro
need
class,
to
you missed that
you
one.
need to fleet. You know, you're done. There's not a lucky dog that there's in Vegas. There's not
No.
a 11 ring in Lancaster. You know, it's not or a at Iowa Midwest. There's not a okay. You can kind of miss one because it's a six, and then shoot a 329 the next day on a Vegas 330 round or a Lancaster 330 round. There's not that I can give a little or lose a little and then get back a little. There's not that experience. So
Yeah, you
you
got to
know, like,
shoot perfect.
and then if you could like describe a little bit, you had said that you're kind of like searching for a while for your shot. Can you describe a little bit as to like what specifically you were looking for and kind of get into maybe a little bit because I know you're still kind of figuring stuff out. What it is you're looking for with the button and the hinge and how you're trying to figure out which one you're going to move forward with. Because I feel like if anyone tinkers with stuff, it's always a release. So uh, lately, I'm not doing it as much because I'm shooting. I shoot my hinge pretty much the same way all the time now. I used to tinker with how I shoot it, but I've been shooting it the same way for the past. year and a half or so, 2 years, and I'm picking up a button, I'm shooting the same exact way. I'm not tinkering with how I shoot it. So if you can kind of explain what it is like you're searching for with the process, and then how you're applying it to the hinge and button, and then how you're going to move forward with Vegas.
So with the shot process portion, I'm looking for the correct, I guess, feel. I I wouldn't even say holding weight. I wouldn't even say um, weight on my bars, which I did change that. I took a ton of weight off my bars, went back to a light bow setup.
You
Uh,
get a number this time.
we have 6 ounces on the front and 10 ounces on the back.
He knows
And
the number, folks. He's different
yeah,
this time.
it is different. Um, and I have the AcU SOS system from AcU Archery, Gas Outdoors, and um, it it's mainly I'm just out for the correct feel. I'm not trying to like, oh, I need to have this specific holding weight. I don't need to have um this precise number of certain things with the bow. It's pretty much I have done everything as far as running my stops all the way out, moving them back in like a 16th to an eighth at a time, walking it in, and um, I've had some aftermarket stops made. I've tried those, tried different timing techniques, and um, honestly, I would have to say what I did today of just taking the movable let off button off and running just the stock mod, no movement, no whatsoever, and I put short my draw length by half an inch. Um, I'd have to say with I believe it's a at a 75 to 80% let off as it sits right now. And I don't know what the holding weight is because I don't have a scale to give me holding weight
Mm.
at the moment. But I'd have to say I had it at about 12, 13 pounds. It probably is about 10 now. So I dropped it drastically down. And it just allows me to, because I shoot a very relaxed shot. And when I say relaxed, it's more of when I draw the bow back and get it to full draw, I like to settle in to my shot. I don't want to have that feeling of it could be yanked out of my shot process, or out of my anchor, I should say, not my shot process. Um, so and being able to have just the actual mod on it, it just feels the whole cam is being used. It just feels to the point to where once it rolls over and it hits, I can relax into it, and then when I settle where I want to and kind of start increasing pressure into my shoulder and my back, is it's all me. Like there's nothing holding. I'm not constricted to, okay, I have to be up here and then I settle, then I will pull against
Yeah.
that holding weight. It's more of I'm able to relax, settle in where I want to, start increasing pressure. There it is. Boom. There it goes. That's my shot feeling. That's what I like to shoot. That's how I had my other bows set up with. Um, had a little bit of a dump off, and I'm just going back to it. I tried everything else. I tried to shoot higher holding weight, which, we had the bow at 13 to 15, which is pretty high for me. We talked about that with the podcast with Landon. I was down to like 11 or 12, and now I'm down to like probably 10 to
Yeah.
9 now, safe to say. Yeah, I know. but it feels good. Don't knock it till you try it. But no, I would just have to say is I'm literally out for the feel. And once I find the right feel, I'll do holding weight, I'll do my weight on my bars. I will write everything down so that way it's a little bit more annotated, I guess. So that way, if I did get into that issue again, I can go back to that. But we're still in the trying phases, but and testing phases. But before we get to Vegas, I needed to try this one last thing. And it feels really, really good. I'm transitioning to a hinge. Going from a command shot to a hinge is very drastic. Yeah. Mm. I
Now,
shot states this past weekend, and it was a eye opener.
do you want to say like what hinge you're using or how you're shooting it? Three, four, two, blah blah blah. You want to get
Yeah.
into those details,
So
and
I
also
have
details of
the
the button as well. You want to get into those details too.
yeah. I got the Scott Longhorn expert from Scott. Actually picked it up from a gentleman I think in Virginia, just to try it out, and I love how it feels. It's a three finger, very flat, um, and
Nice angle. It's a really nice
yes,
angle.
very nice angle, and it allows
Slightly,
me
slightly
to.
angled, from what I remember, right? It has like a slight slope to it.
I got it in my pouch. I can grab it.
Yeah, I think it has like a slight
Yeah.
slope for the ring and
One
ring
sec.
finger. Yes, sir. Yeah, sometimes the slight slope can kind of help with if you have a hard time shooting just a straight flat release, it can help get your hand moving a little bit. So having a slight sloped release, it can get your hand moving in that natural position.
So you have
Yeah,
that downward slope. So that
yeah,
way when you get that position where you want it to, you're not contorted basically like straight up. You're able to relax that hand position. So you get that natural hand position. So yeah, it's got that nice pretty slope, but it's pretty flat. I love how it feels in my hand. Um Set that to the side. I'm going to that. I'm transitioning to one of those. I have also the STB one from Scott as well. If you haven't noticed, big Scott, excuse me, big Scott guy.
and that's
Um,
pretty similar to the old Apex too, right?
yes, it is
Yeah,
like an aluminum version of
yeah,
the Apex,
yeah.
and it really fits your hand really nice. I'm shooting that in a three finger. Didn't really the four finger really didn't sit well with me. It felt okay. I just couldn't get used to it, so I went back to a three finger and I stuck with it. The finger adjustments are fantastic. I got the slope pretty much identical to the Scott Longhorn. Um, and the way I'm shooting this hinge is um, I basically am pulling, getting settled, kind of going back to the feeling process as I'm getting settled. Once I get settled, is I'm transitioning the pressure into my shoulder, and then I'm basically adding additional pressure with my back. Um, this I'm not pushing, I'm not anything. It's just a straight adding pressure till it goes. Um, I'm basically I technically could say I'm pulling against my front. My front gets locked, and I'm literally sitting there just increasing, and I'm squeezing my hand ever so slightly just to get that finger motion, so that way, um, I just grab the release, so that way the hook basically the hinge rotates around the moon to fire. So basically, I'm sitting there just as I'm pulling, I'm slowly increasing pressure and squeezing, and it'll grow. So I'm shooting the thumb button as a command shot. I've been shooting a command shot for since 2023 Vegas. I'd have to say, is when I switched over to command shot, and then shot it ever since. Shot it outdoor season. So I'd have to say now it's 2026. I'd have to say about 3 years almost. So transitioning to a hinge is actually a pretty big deal for me, um, because it's showing me a lot of the bad habits I created with the command shot. Now I can still command shoot it, but at the same time, I have a crisper shot and a crisper feel with my hinge. So I really want to transition to the hinge full time, but I still have the thumb in my pouch just in case the hinge is just not working. I need to grab that button back out. Um, so yeah, and then that's what I'm working on for Vegas. It feels really, really well. We have a lot of leagues going on right now at my club, so getting into practice is kind of on the harder side. I kind of have to wait until their leagues are done. A lot of late nights this week. Headed into Vegas for next week. But at the same point in time, what's sacrificing a little bit of sleep? You know, you can always gain that back. Is what I've always thought. It's not right, but that's what I've always thought.
My body's telling me otherwise right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
mine is too. As you can see, I've been yawning pretty much like um every like 10 minutes. So
I have two coffee pots to the right and left of me, and they're telling me, "Come get me." And I'm like, no, it's 11 o'clock. I can't have you right now.
yeah,
Uh,
no. Just wait
but
like 6 more hours and you can, you
yeah,
know.
I know. I figured we could
um
do a quick transition. The only thing I have left for indoors, I have indoor state championships next weekend. Not really. I haven't changed anything with the setup really. I'm probably going to shoot the button next week. Shot it pretty good today. Just kind of tinkering with that a little bit. I'm more confident with the button. I shoot my best rounds with the button. I've shot the same scores with a button and a hinge, but I've shot more comfortable scores that way with a button. So I'm trying to tinker with that a little bit. I'm just finding that the abyss doesn't get heavy enough for my liking. Not that I like a heavy release, but I like to load heavy on the button. So then it's like pretty much light at that point. Um, then I can't because it's something with the spring. So I was gonna look at getting like the heavier spring to put in.
yeah, I believe they offer a heavier spring for
Yeah,
them.
so that's the only thing I found with that. But I also got it like 2 days ago, so I'm still tinkering with it a little bit. But
We'll figure
um,
it out.
I shot it okay today, so I'm happy with that. Because I used to be a bad puncher, so as in we would get back and you know flinch with the pretty follow through. So we're
That's
trying
the
not
way
to
to
do that.
shoot it, man. That's the way to shoot
Yeah,
a thumb button.
hold on. That's in that's going to be in my book. All right, I'm trying to write the do's and don'ts of archery. And chapter one was do punch like a maniac. So I'm gonna have to add that to it.
Punch. No, it's not punch like a maniac. It's punch like a man, man.
Typically I have a league Monday nights, and there's this girl there that's learning to shoot a button. And I made a joke. I was like, well, first you want to pet the dog a little bit, right? You want to pet the dog, give it a little tease, then you want to like really like start creeping, bring that elbow in, and then jerk it back with that momentum, and then nice follow through after that. So that's how I
Yeah,
describe it.
do the flail. Do the
Yeah, that's how I describe it. I don't recommend it, but
yeah, don't do that.
I figured for the last part of the episode, it's gonna be a short one tonight. Next week will be a little bit longer. We're gonna finish going over the topics for next week, but figure we can kind of get in outdoor seasons coming up, kind of get into what we have planned outdoors, and kind of get into what setup wise we're looking at. Do you want to go first? Me? I'll let you pick.
I'll just do mine because it's just a little simple first, and then we can go in depth with your stuff. Pretty much outdoor season is going to be USAT and NFAA. I'm planning on going to Reading. Hopefully that still happens, but flights are kind of expensive. So yeah, I know
Suck.
it
They
sucks.
suck.
They do, especially living in Michigan, flying all the way over to California. That it's Yeah, it's hard. But at the same point in time, trying to make Reading for the first time, that's coming up. That'll be my
Oh, I thought you shot it before.
no. I've never
Oh
been to
shit.
Reading. Nope, never been to Reading. I've been to Break the Barriers, and that
Yep. No, I
one
knew
is
that. I knew
that
that.
one's out in California, and I wish I wasn't skipping that. I actually jumped the gun a little bit. Gator Cup is my first outdoor tournament for
Okay.
FIDA. I
Yeah.
would have to say first outdoor official outdoor tournament is going to be Gator Cup. I'll be down there with a couple of buddies. We're gonna go and shoot it. And then we got Reading, and then all the USATs for the rest of the year. I think I said that already, so I apologize. It's late. Um, and then pretty much finishing up the season with NFAA. I will not be shooting any ASAs this year. Maybe next year, possibly, but we'll see. Matt's
I'm gonna
over there.
shoot ASA, so it doesn't
Matt's
matter.
hoping. He's like, come on, man, let's go.
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna
Um,
shoot it anyway. So
that is true. But pretty much that's gonna be my outdoor season. Going into outdoor setup. So obviously you can only shoot a 60-pound max bow. So the bow I've been shooting for indoor, I'll set up for outdoor. It's been shooting really good, and if the changes I've made transition out to outdoor pretty well, that's pretty much the way I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna leave it alone. Other than obviously changing arrows, tuning is going to be a little bit different. A little bit of group tuning, a little bit knock tuning, all that stuff. For NFAA and Marked 3D, because you got the trail shoot as well, the Classic Trail Shoot. I love that tournament to death. It's one of my favorite ones. Running another Divide 37.7 at 65 pounds. So I got a 70 pounder back down to 65. Kind of messed with it already, as you can see in the background. That guy right there. Um, got new gas bowstrings put on it, Ghost XVs. Started tuning it, going back and forth between if I want to run a drop away or a blade rest. Um, Trying to figure that out right now. Probably going to throw a blade back on it. I have a drop weight on it right now. And kind of just finish up the tuning. Probably not going to touch it this week. Probably will touch it when I get back from Vegas. So it'll be 2 weeks. And then I'll be hitting that pretty hard to get that thing tuned up and ready for Reading. Because that's a pretty important shoot to me. I want to make a good showing out there. Not saying any other tournament I don't want to, but first time going out there, and I shot pretty good at Break the Barriers, so I'm pretty excited for Reading. So yeah, pretty much that's I'm gonna be shooting a hinge again outside. But obviously in windy conditions, gonna grab the thumb out and just make sure both of those are going good. Other than that,
100%.
that's pretty much my outdoor. Yeah, that's pretty much my outdoor season and pretty much my outdoor setup. I don't know the weight on my bars just yet because I'm gonna start with the same 6 and 10. That would be a good start point for me. Um, and then just go from there. Kind of add weight from there. I'd have to say I wouldn't be taking off because it's pretty light already, but I'd be adding. I might go up to like maybe uh 10 in the front, 15 on the back. Maybe that's what I used to run, and it held
Yep.
pretty solid outside. But yeah, we're just getting ready for outdoor and um basically waiting for Vegas to be over so we can kind of transition. So, what about you, Matt? What are you got going on?
Same exact Supra. That shot all indoors for like field and stuff. Got a new set of strings. Currently, it's maxing out at 57, so I need to fix that. I just didn't want to touch it for indoors. And it's a 60-pound bow, so I got to fix that at some point. It was just shooting really good, so I didn't want to mess with it. But I'll fix that. And then PSC makes spacers you can put in the limb to get an extra like 2 to 3 pounds out of it. So I may put that in just to get a little extra speed out of it. I shoot a Pierce Tours by Gold Tip with a 340 with like 120 grains out the front. So it's around 400 grain arrow, which I still get like 270-ish speed wise, which is pretty decent for that weight arrow. But I like to get a little bit extra speed if I could. But I'll shoot. I have my own shoot this year in Jersey, Triple Crown 3D thing I'm doing. So I'll be doing a lot of that stuff with it. I'm gonna try and make it out for Field Nationals. Yankton is a big one I want to go to. I shot a shitty animal round in Mechanicsburg, which got me off the podium. So it sucked. So I really want to make the podium and win.
He
So
wants to
that's
redeem himself.
kinda, and I'm hoping no one else shows up because it's out in the Midwest. So hopefully it should be easier. Just kidding.
You don't know unless you come out.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of the goal. I would like to go out there.
I really
I want
think
to try
you'd
to
like that course too. Like, I'm not taking anything
I've
away
seen
from
pictures.
Mechanicsburg, but
Yeah, I've seen pictures. It looks really nice. It
yeah,
looks
it's really
well
nice out
taken
there.
together and all that. And I've seen. I like to go out to the Midwest Trail Classic. I've been out there once. And I want to go back. I placed pretty high for the guys in my group, not counting my scorecard right, deducting me 10 points, and my bow falling over and bending my sight and me being 2.5 yards off. So I think if I count my scorecard right and don't drop my bow, I think I'll do well there. So I'd like to go back there again. That's the goal. Nothing against the guys I shot with. They're great guys. They're good shooters. So respect to them. But still, it was very frustrating. Just to see my scorecard get posted on the Facebook page. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. I was pretty pissed. I was like, what? I got deducted like 12 points. Where the hell did they go? I would have been top like 8. Like, what? um, so I'm gonna be doing that. And then all like the state stuff. I'm president for the NJSFAA, which is New Jersey State Field Archery Association. So I'll be state field 3D, and then I'm gonna try to dabble
Mr.
in the.
President.
Damn right, salute me. All right, take your cap off when you salute, take your cap off and stand when you salute your president. All right, uh, stand, motherfucker. All right. No, I'll be doing all that. I'm gonna be pretty tied up with that. So, and then I'm gonna try to do an IBO. IBO is a little closer to the northeast, so I've about set the bow. I've been setting up so shoot down pro 65 pounder. I got some Gold Tip 22 Pro Series. They're light as hell with 100 grains. I'm getting. I don't have them yet. I'm still setting. Well, I have. I'm still setting them up. I have X cutters out of them right now with 120 grains. I'm currently getting 305. So they're ripping right now that SC2. So now that SC2 is not a crazy fast cam. So they're going pretty fast. So I'm pretty
Who
happy with
says that C2 is fast?
their website. Well, comparing to the M2 cam,
Oh
because
yeah,
I've
yeah.
shot the M2 cam before. Like I almost got. So I used to shoot the M2 cam on an old Duo, and with that same field arrow setup, I was getting 290. Like that thing ripped, which was really nice for field because that setup was such a better sight tape. Which is why I wanted to tinker with those spacers, but it was like 285, something like that. It was a decent chunk faster. So I'll be tinkering with that stuff. National wise, field nationals is one, maybe an IBO, and then like I'll do a local qualifier, maybe a worlds because it's in PA or something like that. And then try to do that Midwest Trail Classic in Indiana. Pretty sure.
Yep.
Cash some
Indiana.
bucks. So I'll do that most likely. It's a fun shoot, and I like the safari style. It's just getting out
Yeah.
to renting stuff, especially this year. Sister with the med school graduation being the same exact damn week, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, but Reading, like
Gotta be
brother.
you gotta be the good brother, man,
Yeah, I know. Like,
brother to brother, I gotta do it for my sisters too, so
no, trust me, I know. But Yeah, Reading. But
Don't
yeah,
go
so
into
that's
remission, man. Don't go into remission, okay? You
yeah,
know?
no, that's kind of all I've got. But I've been tinkering with that shoot down pro a lot, which that bow shoot's really nice. I wanted to try and find. They don't make the bow anymore. Turns out, didn't know that. Just
Nope,
found
they
that
don't.
out. It's not on their website anymore, so I've been trying to scour to find another one to set up for field. So I do like that size bow. For I think it would be a better field bow than that Supra personally.
Yeah, I do too.
So I wanted to try and tinker with one. I just can't find one anywhere for a decent price, but you know, it is what it is. But they are nice bows, so I was trying to find one of them. But that's kind of all I got right now. But still tinkering. Weight setup, I run the same, like that 17, 18, like really close to a 1-to-1. I don't adjust that ever. And my weights are kind of stuck on my stabilizers now, so I can't adjust it. So they are what they are.
They've rusted up a little bit.
Kinda. I can't take them off, so they are what they are. They're going to stay 17, 18 for as long as they are. So, it's great.
Just
Uh,
need to get some WD-40 and some motor oil.
it's all right. It is what it is. But, like my 3D bow, I think it's like the same ratio. It's like 16, 17, or 15, 16, something like that. It's a little bit lighter, but with like being like 65, 66 pounds, I run the 75% let off than 70. So it's this because I want to aim a little bit more for 3D than it like rip a bit more. So I
Yeah,
wanted to set a little bit more.
not having that circle or
Yeah,
dot to aim at. You kind of need to
yeah,
aim just a little bit more.
yeah. So that's pretty much it. But that's all I got. Not gonna be a crazy summer, but a couple events that I can like the IBO is just like an experimental thing, something to do. Or it's either that or maybe go down to like the ASA Classic, being at the end of August or whatever. Just something different to do, something fun.
Nah, what you need to
But
do is you need to come out to USA Target Nationals, man.
well, that's gonna be the same weekend as Field Nationals, right? I thought they were.
Nope. I'm gonna figure that out right now for you.
I thought that's what we talked about earlier.
No, they're a week apart. Yep, they're a week apart. So the week of August 12th through the 16th is USA
Oh,
Target Nationals, and then
oh.
the next weekend, the 20th through the 23rd, is NFAA Target Nationals, and I think it said the Dakota Classic.
And which one did you recommend me to go to?
USA Target Nationals.
Wow,
Or,
you're wait me and Fita.
yeah.
Do you want me to get into that rant right now?
No, I don't because I would like to go to bed. So
Okay, so
you'll
I'm not.
have to.
I don't want to like get into that because by that time it's going to be like 12:30. So
Side note, he does
I
not
shot a 700 once and I retired that day. Okay,
he
it's never
doesn't
again.
he doesn't shoot field or not field. He doesn't shoot like FIDA,
Outdoor.
outdoor
It's
FIDA.
just the outdoor game. I'll shoot the indoor game. The indoor game's kind of fun. It's just the outdoor game. I don't
Yeah.
enjoy it.
So
It induces my
maybe
target panic.
we can get Matt to shoot either USAT or
No,
get him to come out to South Dakota for Target Nationals
I'll be a
and
spectator.
shoot that.
I'll be a
Well,
spectator.
it's not USAT though. It's not USAT. If you shoot the NFAA, it's just
Dude, it's the same target.
it's
Come
the 900. No, it's not the same target. You shoot a
on.
90 centimeter face. Nope, you shoot a 90
It
centimeter
goes
face.
yellow, red, blue. I don't care.
Shoot a 90 centimeter face and a 122.
And it's yellow, red, blue. I don't like that target. Anyway, I feel the rant brewing and I can't let it happen. But that's pretty much it for this podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys.
But anyway, moving forward, we got some other guests getting ready. We're still trying to figure it out. Still waiting to hear back from the one. Jacob, tell him to respond to me.
Oh,
Still waiting to hear back, trying to get those details. We're currently working on something new. a like Wednesday night spotlight kind of thing. Still working on that, kind of in the works right now, where they brief like explanation. More of the Sundays are going to be more of the established guys already, and then the Wednesday night spotlights are going to be more of a short form up and up archers, like the guys that are on the rise. So, um, kind of like introducing the next gen in a way.
Yeah.
So something a bit different. Want to give not even like if it's an amateur, it could be like a young pro or like a top amateur, something like that. Give the next generation a voice because they don't really get that opportunity a lot. So we have a couple guests in mind already. I've spoken to a lot of people about it already. They seem pretty excited to get that new voice in. So that's something we have in mind. We're still working out the kinks, and scheduling has been not fun. So we're working on that. It'll get out at some point, whether we have to record early and then post on Wednesday, something like that, maybe. But we'll get that out at some time. But
Yeah,
we are working
scheduling
on
has
that.
not been our
It's a
friend.
bitch. It's a bitch.
Yeah, because with tournaments and everything, and we have guests that want to come on. We've reached out to all of them, but they also have their own tournaments. They have their own personal life, so
Yeah.
scheduling is hard. So bear with us. We're still in the beginning phases of the podcast. Um, but yeah, let us know what you guys want to hear, who you would like to hear from, and if we can make it happen, we can. Um, and if you have any other suggestions on what you guys would like us to cover, please reach out to us. Whether you can want to reach us at our Instagram page or you can reach us right here on YouTube. I know I have a professional archers page, so you guys can message me on there if you would like.
So cool. I
Yeah,
get one?
yeah,
I don't. So just message me on my regular page.
yeah. But yeah, reach out to us if there's a topic or an individual you would like to see on here with us. We'll try to make it happen as best as we can with scheduling conflicts and tournaments coming up. But that pretty much wraps up the podcast.
I mean, pretty much
We'll
that's
pretty
pretty much
much,
all I got. Yeah,
yeah,
the spotlight and the up and up. I'm looking forward to. This should be fun.
I am too. It'd
Um,
be pretty
uh,
cool to get some unknown guys on here. Not,
yeah, and
I don't mean
the
like
one guys,
unknown, but like
not unknown, but like they're guys like you don't typically think of right away,
they're
kind of
hidden in the
thing.
shadows a little bit
Yeah,
until you hear the
like
name.
I'll give like a brief example, not like when you think 3D, you think Levi Morgan, but then at the same time there's Dan McCarthy. Not no disrespect to Dan, but Levi has been the
Yeah.
face of the 13 in a row or whatever it was, and it was no different with Jeff Hopkins with his 8 in a row, and then it was Levi for the
Yep.
9 in a row. So it's no different than that. So and it's no disrespect to Dan, but it's just like an example, and
Yeah.
it's like that at that point. So
Yeah. Dan's a
it's
great
kind of like,
shooter, great guy, and same thing
yeah.
with
And
Levi
for
as
this,
well.
on the Sundays, it's going to be more of a long form with like Landon. He's become a very established shooter. He's won NFAA Indoor Nationals. He's won a few ASAs. He's podiumed at Lancaster. But we're gonna have some pros on and like top amateur shooters. And then for the Wednesday night specials, it'll be either young pros or shooters in general that they're going to make a name in this sport at some point. And even if they're not at the top of their game, at this point in time, they're going to be there within the next few years, something like that, pretty much. And we're already talking to. I've been talking to a few people already. I'm sure Jacob has as well, and I have. We have a list down of a few guys and gals, say least. So, um, but it's all in the works still. But I'm looking forward to it. So, but it's pretty much all we got for tonight.
That's pretty much it.
11:25. I'm ready to sign the hell off.
I'm ready to go to
Um,
bed, dude.
damn right. I'm good with that, bro. But thanks, guys. We'll have
Yes.
a pod next week. Um, and I'll make some posts this week. Sorry for the delay, but I'll make a post this week about the topics for next week. But thanks again, everybody.
Yeah, appreciate you guys watching. As always, stay hungry, happy but not satisfied, and I wish you all good luck, whether you go to Vegas or if you have any other state tournaments or sectionals coming up. So good luck to you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.